everyone, and thank you for tuning into the North Main Minute. I'm Joshua Dobie. Pretty consistent question we've had here, I want to say over the last year, but frankly it's been over the last 4 or 5 years. And maybe it's always true that folks are asking this kind of question: are we in or are we moving towards what is called a recession? Now, several different academic ways to define that. I'm going to define it real quickly here for means of this very brief conversation, saying that recession, generally speaking, is when we have 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth, meaning that growth in terms of our country is going in a negative direction for at least 2 consecutive quarters. You're going to find other algorithms that define a recession. Not going to argue the pros and cons of each one here, just saying, generally speaking, with a recession, we're talking about going backwards. And that usually comes with higher unemployment rates, that usually comes with higher costs of capital. Generally, it's a more challenging time for us from an economic standpoint. So the big question, multi-trillion-dollar question that's always being asked, are we in one or are we heading towards one? Well, I can say confidently, insofar as the definition that I just gave you, that we're not in one right now. Could we be heading in that direction? Don't know. So it's a terrible answer to start. But one of the things that we've been watching very, very closely is the Federal Reserve has increased interest rates here over the last couple of years. One of the almost likely kinds of scenarios that can transpire from that is that we do move into a recession. If you think about it, the Federal Reserve keeps increasing rates, becomes more expensive for companies to do business. Unemployment rates rise, lines of credit interest rates rise, mortgage rates rise, auto loan rates rise, all of those kinds of things are rising. And as I don't need to tell you, you add inflation along with that, it becomes more expensive to live. So very often we do head into recessionary kinds of spaces. Not that the Federal Reserve wants to do that. You've probably heard, if you watch any financial news program, that they want what's called a soft landing. Basically for things to slow down, but not too much, kind of like the porridge from the children's tale. So they want it to come back a little bit, but not so much that we actually move into a recessionary space. At this time, as of this recording, it looks like we're going to be, relatively speaking, in that kind of space. Now, we've had some revisions to unemployment figures here, and specifically job creation over the course of the last several months. Those revisions have been in a not so positive direction, and so we're watching those kinds of things very closely. But it's always true that we're either moving towards or away from that kind of space. We're never static, and certainly with a $30 trillion economy, as we have here in the U.S., that kind of thing is moving in a dozen different directions all at the same time. Some of them positive and some of them negative. What's important is to have a plan that's flexible enough to be able to weather the storms and take advantage of the upsides as they occur. If you'd like to reach out to us at North Main Financial Group, perhaps take a look at your overall plan. Is your portfolio positioned in such a way to be able to enjoy the good times, but also to protect some against the bad times? We'd love to hear from you. NorthMainFinancial.com.